Let's talk foreign policy briefly. I'm just going to spend a couple minutes on this because I want to move on. I'm done with the Israel-Iran stuff for a little while until something else kicks off. But it's worth talking about because Donald Trump made a bunch of headlines today by doing something I don't know that I've ever seen an American president do. Trump was so upset that, don't worry, we're not going to show it to you. We'll beep it out. I know kids are watching, but he was so upset that he dropped an F-bomb on camera, cussing at Israel and Iran. Here he was.
They violated it, but Israel violated it too. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Now, Donald Trump is not exactly a saint. No one thinks that. No one would be surprised to find out he drops a bunch of F-bombs behind the scenes. How upset does he have to be? It's not like he's not in control of his mouth. He's been on camera his entire life. How upset does he have to be to drop that? And why? Let's talk about that for just a moment. Why is he so upset? Well, Donald Trump, I'm going to just heap some praise on him right now because he deserves it. Donald Trump desires peace. He's one of those guys. And not just Israel, Iran, all over. Donald Trump does not like war. He has spoken out against it a bunch. He thinks it's ridiculous. He thinks it costs lives. He thinks it's just a crazy thing to do. For Donald Trump, the way he views the world is we should be making business deals because business deals bring people together who are fighting. You get a little rich and I get a little rich and we made a deal. And oftentimes he has been successful in that. In his business life, he's been wildly successful in that. And as a politician during his first term, and in this term in different ways, he's been very successful in that. When he sees a war, when he sees a conflict, he steps in and says, hey, but this is crazy. I'll mediate this whole thing. The American president has a big voice anyway. Let me mediate the whole thing. Hey, why are you guys fighting? Let's figure this out. Let's do a deal. We'll figure out it. You do a little this and I'll do a little that. We'll do it. That's how he does things. And it has been a wildly successful foreign policy. Let's give credit where it's due. His frustration. I have actually seen him voice very similar words to that recently. I'm not going to bother playing it for you right now, but he voiced that same kind of frustration with Vladimir Putin. He had this ceasefire agreement with Zelensky and Putin, with Ukraine and Russia, but then there was an attempted assassination of Putin, and then Putin starts shooting rockets into cities, and Trump said something very similar, didn't drop an F-bomb, but said something very similar. And I don't know what he's doing, throwing rockets into the city. Well, here's what has happened. Donald Trump is the furthest thing in the world from naive, so he knows what I'm about to say is true, but here's what has happened. Some people don't want to do a business deal. For some people, it's not about money. It's not about prosperity. It's not about their own country or their own citizens. Like the things that motivate Donald Trump don't necessarily motivate other people in every part of the world. For Vladimir Putin, Zelensky, he's been trying to broker a peace deal there since he got sworn in. There's no peace. People are still dying because they don't want peace. They want to fight. For a guy like Donald Trump, that's crazy. And you know what? I agree with him. It's crazy. It seems ridiculous. Doesn't understand it. Why don't you guys just come to an agreement? We have an agreement. What are you doing? But they want to fight. They want to kill each other. When it comes to Israel, Iran, it's an identical situation. Identical situation. The hatred between those two countries is long and deep. Those two countries have been at each other's throats for ages. Iran has been promising every Islamic fundamentalist on the planet that they will wipe Israel off the map for ages. Israel has been fighting against that kind of thing for ages. How many sons, daughters, how many family members have died in each country? How deep does the hatred go? You can look at this war, and especially from Iran's perspective, they've been kicked around. Israel took out all their leadership, almost all of it. We dropped a couple bunker buster bombs on them, blew up their nuclear facilities. For us, from the outside looking in, for a sane person, for someone like Donald Trump, well, all right, it's time to stop. All right, guys, let's stop. It's done. Maybe they don't want to stop. Maybe they like killing as many Israelis as possible, and maybe they're not stressing a new nuclear facility. For Israel, think about it from Israel's perspective. Israel's heard threat after threat, terrorist attack after terrorist attack. October 7th is still fresh in their mind. Donald Trump reportedly got very heated with Netanyahu on the phone. It wasn't just that thing, and you can picture him getting heated on the phone. What are you doing? Shooting up? Maybe Israel doesn't want to stop. Trump wants to broker these ceasefires all over the world. He wants peace, and I think he deserves all the credit in the world for that, but it's hard to accept that there are parts of the world that don't want peace, and there won't be peace. So that's all I want to say about that. I want to move on, and I want to discuss a couple things before we wrap this up, because we have a huge show for you tonight. We have Buck Sexton coming up and Bill Jacobs, and there's all kinds of Supreme Court stuff, but I want to just discuss something. We're changing gears completely here because Obama said something. We're going to talk about what the communist wants and why he lies. You and I, we've had this conversation before that communists lie all the time. And when I say that, maybe you're just thinking I'm being partisan, but you can go read what they write. It's not just that they lie. They are commanded to lie. They will police each other's lies strictly. You want to get in trouble? You want to be a communist and get in trouble? You don't get in trouble for telling lies. You get in trouble for telling the truth. Now, why though? Why? They just love lying? It's not that. When you're selling a demonic, destructive religion, you can't be honest about it. You can't sell that to people. You have to carefully craft your words, craft your sentences, and oftentimes outright lie because the truth is horrific. That's why every communist regime in history has censored information. All of them. You know the stories out of the Soviet Union, the news channels, the newspapers, East Germany, China, all of them. Why are they so big on censorship? Because they need tight control of all sources of information so they can lie. And that is why, as I said this many times before, for all the evils of social media, and I know there are many, many evils of social media might be the thing that in the long run kills communism for good because it's a free-for-all. It should just be NBC, ABC, CBS, and CNN, and then we can hire all our own people, and we'll control everything, every anchor, every producer, every editor. We have control of everything, and then we can tell whatever lie we want. We'll tell people Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation, and they'll believe it. We can tell them whatever we want. And they had that complete control. But social media came out. And then, honestly, Elon Musk deserves a lot of credit. He buys Twitter. Now, they can't control all information. Therefore, the lies, the world of lies they're constantly building with their language is always coming crumbling down. That's why Barack Obama and many of them talk like this.
We want diversity of opinion. We don't want diversity of fact. By the way, it will require some government, I believe, regulatory constraints around some of these business models in a way that's consistent with the First Amendment, but that also says, look, there is a difference between these platforms letting all voices be heard versus a business model that elevates the most hateful voices or the most polarizing voices or the most dangerous in the sense of inciting violence voices. And that I think is going to be a big challenge for all of us that we're going to have to undertake.
Wasn't that so revealing? Not just what he said, but how he said it. So careful. The slow, halting, gotta make sure I choose the right word here. We love the First Amendment. We love the First Amendment's great. We love that, but everyone should be heard. But maybe we should. They know who they are. They know what they are. They know that you would be mortified beyond belief if the truth was ever revealed about who these people are and what they actually want. Therefore, they believe in lying about everything at all times, and they believe in censorship because they build a constant world of lies. And all it takes to destroy these people and their sick, demented worldview is the truth. Normal people speaking up and speaking out, and that's why they hate it. And so before I wrap this up, let me give you another truth, kind of another change of direction, but let me give you another truth. Communists will take power again in this country at some point in time. I know it doesn't seem like that now. Republicans are popular. Trump is popular, I should say. Democrats are unpopular, that they're on the outs. We got it. We're going to have it forever, but that's not how politics works. You know that. Eventually, they will come back. When they come back, they will do so much worse than they did even last time. Communists believe in accelerating things. They believe they lost power because they didn't go far enough. And so disgusting, evil organizations like the FBI. You see, the FBI, well, they did horrible things under Joe Biden, and they will do worse things under the next communist. And we won't have any whistleblowers. Did you know that? We had brave whistleblowers like Steve Friend and Garrett O'Boyle under Joe Biden.
Mr. Friend, you ever been to a school board meeting?
Yes, I have.
FBI ever sent you to the parking lot of a school board meeting?
Yes, they have.
And in the parking lot of a school board meeting where the FBI sent you, you were taking down information regarding people's license plates.
That's correct.
But the FBI will crush you. This government will crush you and your family if you try to expose the truth about things that they are doing that are wrong. And we are all examples of that.
Both those gentlemen are still unemployed. The next time the communist takes power, the FBI will go after you and me with the fire of 1,000 suns. And next time we won't have any whistleblowers because our last whistleblowers had not been rewarded with promotions, with statues, with honors, with medals. They're still all unemployed. What are we doing at the FBI? All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right.
I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.